guys, welcome back to Ravenclaw Reads. I'm Courtney and you are joining me for my December wrap up. I almost wasn't going to do this video because I feel like December is so last year, but I think the wrap ups are essential as we go through sort of what we read. So last month I read 12 books magically because I really slumped out last month. I had already hit my goal, well surpassed it. I read 211 books this year, super excited about that. And my original goal was 70. I passed that sort of mid-year, and then I didn't really talk too much about it, but in my head, I knew that I wanted to get to 200. And once I hit that, for sure, on my end, I was like, kind of taking it easy. So I'm surprised that I got this many done, but happy that I did. So I'm going to go through them and just share with you what I read. So the first book I read was The Summer of Christmas. Obviously, being December, I wanted to add some Christmas books. I'm very much a mood reader though, so when we think about like specifically doing a theme, it's kind of hard for me. October, I usually do sort of mysteries, thrillers, scary books. Middle grade May was really fun. But other than that, I really try just to pick what I want to read. So it was interesting. So The Summer of Christmas is by Juliet and Keith Giglio. That's how I'm going to pronounce it. And this story is about sort of a hometown girl who is in LA. She's trying to be a screenwriter. Her boyfriend breaks up with her before she kind of hits the big break, and because he doesn't want to live in LA. Years go on, she kind of starts dating somebody in the industry, and one of her scripts gets picked up, and this script is all about sort of like a Christmas Hallmark movie, and it has to be filmed in her hometown. It's kind of based loosely on her life and this breakup that she had, and so they go back to her hometown. And obviously her and her ex kind of reconnect, and it goes from there. I ended up giving this 3 stars. It was mid. Like 3 stars to me is not horrible. I would recommend it if you wanted something super cheesy, but it just didn't hit for me. It was, the romance didn't seem great. The executive guy that she was dating was kind of hot and cold. And it just seemed like it was gonna do more than it did. So I gave it 3 stars. After that, I read Claudia and the Sad Goodbye. This is book number 26 in the Babysitters Club. If you have been following me, you know that I am rereading the entire Babysitters Club from my childhood, from book 1, including the super special. So I'm trying to go in publication order. I'm just not including the mysteries in that publication order right now. And so I was on 26, and I really tried not to read this book. Like, I know what this book is about. And I really didn't want to say goodbye to Mimi, but I did. It was sad. I didn't cry. I only cry in books too much, but I did read it, and I gave it 5 stars because you can't not give it 5 stars. I mean, the way that it's written and the way grief is written, so powerful. And this is why, like, I don't know if there's books like this, a lot of books like this nowadays, where like I read the Babysitters Club books to learn like how to navigate situations, right? I think about shows like Arthur. I watch those shows to learn how to navigate situations, and so I don't know if they have books like that nowadays, honestly, so love it. Then after that, I read Super Special number 2, Babysitters Summer Vacation. Now, I really wanted to read, well, I was out of order. So the Super Special 2 comes before 26, but I accidentally read that out of order. And then I picked up Super Special 3 because it's a winter one, and I really wanted to read that, but I was like, I can't go out of order. So I just read book number 2, Babysitters, a Super Special number 2, Babysitters Summer Vacation. This was my favorite Super Special when I was a kid. This one and the one where they do the play. And I still loved it. I gave it 5 stars. I thought the camp aspect was interesting. I thought the way the other campers, like when they bring in other characters, it's always interesting to see how the girls navigate that. And I really think, like, I know it's the times, but the way that Jessie endures so much for being like one of the only Black people in the book, or in Stony Brook, or I guess in life, is always interesting to me. And so, yeah, I gave it 5 stars. I still loved it. After that, I read A Holly Jolly Ever After. This is by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. This is a follow-up to their book from last year. I think it was A Very Merry Little Meet Cute or something like that. And this book I gave 4 stars. Now, do not be fooled by the cover or the name. These books are ultra spicy, and they all kind of have to do with adult movie stars. And so this book followed that same path to sort of an ex-boy band. So they're all written by, there's a 3-guy group, and each of the males in the books were from that group. So this is the second book and the second guy in the group. And I describe him as like the Joey Fatone of the group. He's like the fun guy, and he has always been kind of overweight, just like a bigger guy. And he gets cast for this movie, and then the other girl who's like a very virginal sort of actress, teen actress, and has a scandal and has sort of fallen off into her earlier adult years, and they come together to make this sort of Hallmark After Dark sort of movie. It's like Santa, what was it? It was like Santa, it's something so absurd. Oh my God, I can't remember. You have to read it to find out. But it's like a Santa movie, but it's like Santa young, and he dates this girl. Really good. This is a book that is like a laugh out loud book, in my opinion. I listened to it and I read it. It's free on Spotify if you have Spotify Premium. Such a good book. Very comical, but very, very spicy. 4 stars. Okay, after that, I read another Babysitters Club book. Now, I did do a lot of Babysitters Club books this month because really I didn't have the mind capacity to read much else, but also I was trying to get to the winter book, so I had to get through all of these. And I was also trying to get to Welcome Back Stacy, which I did get to. So, and I'm just noticing, like, I track my books and digitally, and there's some that I've missed. Okay, so I read Jessie and the Super Brat. This is Babysitters Club book number 27. I gave this 4 stars. Now, this is the first high-rated book that I've given to Jessie. Prior to this book, we haven't gotten much about her personality or who she is. All we've got is that she's young, she's Mallory's friend, and she's Black. And so this book really talked about how she navigates her babysitting, and she was the main character, obviously, so we got to see more of her. So that was 4 stars. Then I picked up The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. I ended up giving this 3 stars. And Lana Ferguson is the author of The Nanny, which I really enjoyed earlier this year. And I picked up The Fake Mate like as an auto buy, having no real background on the book. But this book is actually way different than The Nanny. So in The Nanny, we have 2 people who get together. She's a nanny, he's a guy, she had an OnlyFans, and he was a customer, and they kind of find out who they are. This book takes a complete shift, as no pun intended, as we meet our main character, female, and the male character. They're both wolf shifters. The woman is an omega and the man is an alpha. So they're like the top of the shifters. And they come together to mate because they have to have a bond. They start fake dating. And part of, I guess the whole world is shifters. That was kind of so confusing to me. But one way that they know that they're actually dating is that they have to scent each other. So they have to hug or like rub off on each other. This is 3 stars. I would recommend it if you were interested in wolf shifting. I'm currently reading a book right now that also includes wolf shifting. So I don't know, like, am I into it or not? But this one threw me off because of the whole nodding thing. Now, if you are into wolf shifter books, you know about the nodding. And the nodding is what happens when they have relations and the man knots inside the woman. I don't know. It's a lot, and I was not prepared, and it just kind of grossed me out, to be honest. Like, I didn't care to read that at all. And what I'm finding, and I found out this month in another book that I read, that, you know, I don't mind spice in a book, but when it's like back to back, or when that's all the plot point is at a certain point, I'm not interested. I'm skimming those pages a lot. All right, after that, I needed some wholesomeness in my life. So I went back to Babysitters Club number 28 and I read Welcome Back Stacy. Stacy's my favorite character. I can say that confidently now. And I just couldn't wait for her to come back. So this book, I gave 5 stars. Not only did my girl come back, but it was just the way the divorce was depicted, it was like so much tea. I just couldn't even take it for a kid's book. The parents arguing, Stacy trying to listen to it, trying to intervene, her trying to get advice on who she'll live with when the parents decide they're going to divorce. It was a lot. And I think that for kids reading this who are going through a divorce, they might feel some companionship for this topic. After that, I really buckled down and I said I was going to finish some series. And the only one I finished was the Scythe series. I finished The Toll by Neal Shusterman, and I gave that 4 stars. I think the series overall felt like a 5-star series, but this story itself did not feel 5 stars for me, partly because I took chunks in breaks reading it. But I think what I didn't like about this one was that it just took everybody in such far directions from where they were going, and I wasn't really expecting that. So 4 stars for that. Then after that, I read The Night Shift by Annie Crown. This has kind of been everywhere, but it was actually on Kindle Unlimited. It's a really new, popular book. I gave this 4 stars. This book follows a girl and a guy in college. The girl works at the library overnight, and the guy is like the basketball star. He needs some help and some tutoring, and they hit it off and they start sort of hooking up, and it goes from there. The only issue I had with this book, I loved the writing style. I immediately looked for more books by Annie Crown, but I think this is her only book so far. But the thing that threw me off about this one was that it was just one of those 0 to 100, from like we barely like or know each other to we are wholly committed to each other, and that just never makes sense to me because it's not realistic. After that, I read Snow Place Like LA. It is a novella by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. And this book follows the wardrobe stylist from the other books. And it is a male-male story. I ended up giving it 4 stars. I think it was generally pretty good. I like Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone's writing style. They're very funny, like I said in the other book. But this one had a lot of graphic sexual content, and this is where I was like, I don't know if I need this much detail and spice. And so I think it's just not necessary to go deep. And then I was just like reflecting myself to make sure it wasn't, because it was male, and honestly it's not that. It's the fact that it was just very, very explicit versus their other writing. So then I was like, why are they over sexualizing the male book versus the more mainstream book? Because while they are spicy in the mainstream book, it's not as graphic as that one was. So I would only recommend that book if you explicitly like explicit content. Then I decided I wanted to reread Happy Place, because I had taken a break sort of after Christmas of not really reading anything, and I just wanted to be in a happy place. I wanted to read a book that I knew that I loved. And I was watching Haley Pham kind of talk about how Emily Henry's books are so good that it's almost like a fever dream. You like black out when you read it. And I was like, that is so true. I knew that I liked Happy Place, but I couldn't tell you anything about it, because when it came out, I rush bought it, I rush read it, and then I was on to the next. So I reread it. It is still a 5-star for me. It was so good, guys. I really, really loved this book. The story of our main characters, sort of their relationship and how it all came about, the sort of friendship aspect of how things ebb and flow as people grow and change. I thought the whole book was so well written, and I got to use my paperback, which is my UK edition. And then the last book that I read this month was Behind the Net by Stephanie Archer. And I'll be honest, toward the end, I skimmed the mess out of this book because I really had high hopes for it. I thought it was going to be good, and then it just kind of fell flat. It was very corny. I gave it 2 stars. It was very corny. It was very predictable. It was very much written like she was all over him. It's like the atypical romance smutty book. It just wasn't good. I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly, but it was basically them dating, him saying all kinds of corny lines to her taking the lines, and then them hooking up. I didn't need it in my life, so I don't really recommend that one. But that was everything I read in December. Like I said, it was a great month, surprisingly, because I was dragging the entire month. I had a little bit of a break in between Behind the Net and starting for the new year, and I am refreshed and committed to reading only books that I want to read. Comment down below what you read in December, or if you have any thoughts on the books that I read. I would love to hear them. I love to respond to comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and be sure to share the channel too, as it's a new and up and coming channel, and would love to get more people in our community. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.